All right, it's Friday. That means Ryan's record. That means I go small, Ryan goes big, and Ryan can talk about whatever he wants to talk about. That's the rules. Ryan's record rules.
Ryan record does rule. Hi, David. How are you?
I'm fine. Now that I can see. Now that I can see again.
I really dig the new glasses.
I've never.
Where'd you go? What store?
Oh, I went to the store, Ryan. Dude, it's a fucking $80 eye exam. Like, how can you go wrong?
Everywhere's $80 eye exam, David.
That's not true. Here's the other thing. So, I have super exciting news. My old phone was dying. Got a new one. I got a fancy watch, which is cool. I got new ways to be tracked, which I find exciting. It's good stuff, Ryan.
Dave also found out that his heartbeat is lower than the average male's.
Oh, it's like way lower.
Dave, literally stressed is probably my sitting heartbeat.
Dude, it's like 20 beats per minute lower than average. I don't know if I should get checked out. Is that bad?
Probably.
Yeah,
Dave, two-thirds of your body shutting down. Fuck.
You're at 15 beats per minute. You're dying. No, I think the lowest I caught it at, though, was below 40, which I'm pretty sure is not good.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's usually 45, 50, which is lower than the average. But I caught it at 38 the one day. I'm dying.
I had one of those Galaxy phones that you could have your fingerprint. I don't know how accurate it was, but one time I sprayed a bed liner. I was all suited up with a mask. I did everything super quick. It was a hot day, and I did it, and it was double my heart rate, sitting heart rate normally. I was like, holy crap. It really puts in perspective that the stress you can put on yourself is pretty cool. Yeah, Dave, like I was telling you earlier, if I could just have a watch that would give me the same experience and that fullness that a phone can. I know I'm asking a lot, but
fortunately, Ryan, there's also a stress meter on here. If you ever wanted to check your stress.
Yeah, so my social credit score stress. You're a little stressed out.
Should I measure this bitch out?
I wonder if they'll censor my speech in the future if I'm too stressed out. Be like, he wasn't rational. Look at Dave's stress.
I don't know how stressed I'm going to be.
Well, I'm not.
It's a long time. I'm getting stressed waiting for it to tell me how stressed I am.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, Dave, I'm not stressed at all. You know why?
Why is that, Ryan?
Because it's Ryan's record. It's the greatest day of the week.
That's why I'm probably minimally stressed, Ryan. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm good. In the green.
Oh, super low stress.
Super low stress.
I'm glad we could cap the week off very nicely. It's been a very nice week, David. Very nice week.
Well, for some of us.
Yeah, we had an ice storm here. It was terrifying. Anyways, so a couple things on my little record here. PBD, get down there, people. I'm telling you. That guy is the future of media. It's unbelievable.
Because he's going to buy it all?
Well, yeah, but he has a lot of good Trump stuff, DeSantis stuff, the chemical explosion. Some of our coverage kind of parallels and overlaps a little bit of their stuff. But my point is, get over there, man. They have such good content. It's really exciting to see him blow up. I say this every week because it's incredible. Just to see a guy fight back by just practicing like a good business model. It shows people want the information. It shows that people want truth. It shows that people don't mind opinions if they're open and biased, if they're open and honest. Patrick Bet-David, thing that I've really appreciated about him is he asks more questions more than anything.
That's the thing I like most about listening to him, though, because it does give you a window into. You got to remember, he owns a real estate business or an insurance business.
Insurance company.
Okay,
insurance. And he's in insurance.
He's the head of this company, right? This is it. So you get a window into what the mind of a CEO of a multi-million, maybe multi-billion. I don't know how big it is. You get a window into the mind of a CEO of that kind of company just by how he approaches everything. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and then obviously he's translating it to politics, and what do they always say about business? That's all about relationships, knowing human nature, how money works, right? It's all the same kind of principles, that same kind of foundation, which is still a lot to know, and people are good at it, exceed like he does. But to see him transfer that to politics is very interesting because he kind of gets to the whole point of what we discuss is we're all kind of Americans that all want the same stuff. I said this Ukraine funding stuff makes me a socialist. I don't even. like on paper, I'm against universal basic income, but if you can send all my money to fucking Ukraine, you can give everybody money. Like it just doesn't equate. And he gets down to a lot of, not that he's solving stuff, but he's presenting information. That's the point of the internet, and he's harnessing it. To see it blow up is great. Now we're in the age now that there's actually a little bit of competition. Not that I have 100% diehard for Musk, but him buying Twitter has definitely altered YouTube's algorithm. So, and if YouTube CEOs are stepping down, I think that's a larger plight of things to come.
Yeah, but you just wanted to spend time with your family, right?
Yeah. So PBD had Tate's lawyer on this week. It was pretty interesting. I'm not going to get over legal jargon, but it's basically a nightmare. It's a very unordinary case, not just because of his celebrityism, but the dual citizenship, the language barrier, the different laws. They don't have rights like we do. Basically, it just shows how awesome America is. You know, honestly, like just they're not innocent until proven guilty there, which is why they can just hold him for however long to corroborate evidence, because we have that presumption that it's allegedly, but it's only alleged when they find something in their country. It's just very, this is like, they speak in legalese, and that podcast is about it. But it's, once again, he's like the only guy going to have this chick on to have this balanced conversation.
Here's the thing too, and I don't know when this airs, if it'll be coming up or in the past already, but when's his release date scheduled as of right now? It was supposed to be late February, wasn't it?
What, his release?
Yeah, because they take it on like a 30-day by 30-day, I think.
Yeah, they can hold him up to 180, I think, or whatever. But yeah, that I don't even.
March 29th. Did it just get? It must have got extended again. It was extended. It was extended on February 21st for another 30 days. Holy shit!
5 days ago, yeah. So this is kind of how they can operate. And then the something with the making him fall in love is kind of considered coercion. I've heard in the space too. So like, if the girls did love him, the courts can still legally say that's coercion because these girls loved you so much because you're like, right. So like in that way, they could get him
make them fall in love, or
no, but right, but that's
whores?
That's the point though. They just say they love him, and it's legally coercion already. So like, it doesn't matter if it's true if they can get him with the crime, right? Like they didn't get Al Capone with murder; they got him for tax evasion. Sure. Right, like that kind of thing. So they'll get him on a technicality, but it doesn't mean he was human trafficking females.
Right, which is what I've said in the past. I'm sure they're going to find something.
Well, there's no way.
Is he a sex trafficker? I mean, come on.
Yeah, all the same. Interesting. So check that out. He had some Trump videos. And then one quick thing about the election: Nikki Haley has put her hat in for the Republican nomination.
Yep, she's officially in,
and I suspect she will be Trump's VP.
Interesting.
Maybe not. I don't know. I'm kind of just throwing this out there now as like a creative thing of like, you know, he's not picking Pence, and he's not going to go DeSantis. And
DeSantis wouldn't go anyway.
Yeah, but if he has,
my opinion,
if he has a girl VP, it's kind of. And I guess I don't hate Nikki Haley. You know, she has a great story. And yeah, she was his Secretary of State, if I was not mistaken. So they've already worked together. And I kind of think this is also maybe the Republicans trying to pad a little cushion between them and Trump.
Yeah, and Trump didn't necessarily say anything bad about her. So that's a good thing, I guess, for her.
Yeah, her whole stint was to Jerusalem, right? Building the embassy in Jerusalem and actually pulling through with it, something that's been talked about since the 90s, blah, blah, blah. And she has a great story with her husband. I think she has an immigrant story. No, or her husband or something, all the same. Just very interesting. It's worth mentioning because, you know, election is coming. It's going to be here quickly, and it's going to be pretty crazy to see when we're not at a world war.
I saw that Biden said that concerns about his age is legitimate.
Yeah, he just fell up Air Force One again this week.
Yeah. Well, those stairs are tricky.
Well, build smaller airplanes, David, or don't go to fucking Ukraine. I can Skype for work, but the president's got to fly to Ukraine for diplomacy. The most important job's teachers. That's why you can do it at home, but I have to fly to Ukraine. Get fucked, dude.
Yeah.
A couple other things here. Oh yeah, just quick with the PBD thing and presidential election. I got on here. I told you guys about Grant Cardone last few weeks.
Yeah, he's
And
a racist, right?
yeah, I seen a video about him trying to get the N word, the N card passed from. I think it was from PBD.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Not that. Not not that obviously racism is not funny. Obviously, YouTube,
no.
World Health Organization. Just the whole thing's fucking funny. Honestly, the idea of trying to get the end card. Yo, man, just let me say this. What are you doing? You had everybody. You had me. The point, I think this is something, it's been said about Trump. These people get so much money, are so disconnected. This is why I want to get rich, dude. You think this guy gives a fuck? He don't give a fuck. No. I'm gonna run for president regardless. And also, they probably had this clip for years, and they're just releasing it now because the election's coming. So, a lot of things can be true at the same time. It was just funny to me that I literally got up here, beat this guy's chest. I was like, yeah, I'll vote for him. And then, yo, man, give me the N-word.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. I got stories too.
Oh, really? This is a common thing for him?
No, not for him. For me.
Oh, yeah.
When I was younger, hanging out with a couple of my black friends. One of them was come on. He was like, come on, man. I was like, what? He's like, say it. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you know you want to say it. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, come on.
This is honestly...
Dude, I said it. He's like, man, say it. I said it, and then came with a couple of his friends I was like, oh, shit. Did I go too far? He's like, nah, I'm fucking with you. Dude, one thing I know, though, from having black friends is they love to fuck with white people.
As they should, because I like to fuck with white people, too.
Sure, yeah.
There's a saying us white people have. Fucking white people. Because I get it. Here's the thing. I told you guys, the race riots in Buffalo, Polacks, and, my dad's told me a lot of stories about how it was more racist lingo like that, right? This deep segregation with ethnicity and culture.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that it trickled down to us in the 90s was South Park, Family Guy, American Dad, and saying black jokes with your friends, and not that it was right or whatever or anything, but is kind of you were kind of just...
Yeah, but it was it was less racist, though.
It was definitely less racist because we were navigating...
to be in the open and openly joke about it than to be secretive about it?
Well, there, here's the... there was people in my life that are racist and were racists.
Sure. And we all agree that's bad.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just back to your point, it's kind of the ignorance of our youth allowed us to express things that we had to figure out what was acceptable, not just for our generation, but because the ones before us and the ones that are after us. We weren't thinking about this, right? But now in hindsight, because all that shit, all that racism did boil to us, even with the Polacks and the Italians, the blacks, and, even that split in our local culture, the old families of your local,
that's true, but it's weirdly much more acceptable for me to say Dago or Polak.
Right, but it's literally the equivalent. At the end of the day,
we're all crackers, right?
Well, that's what they say, but if my grandparents were still alive, they would literally, not that they take offense because they gave up their ethnicity to be American, right? That's the whole. I know we're long-winded.
Do you know where the term honky comes from, Ryan?
No.
You don't? No, it comes from white people pulling up in black neighborhoods for prostitutes. They would honk their horns.
Oh, that's a good move. Strippers and crack, right?
That's right.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, David, back to your point, that youthful ignorance, it didn't make it okay, but it almost gave you the pass that you needed for all of us to figure it out. And now that's all taken away because when you're being that immature, we would call it locker room talk, grab her by the pee, right? By Trump. But when you're having that, your bullshit with your friends, but when you're making when you're talking like that, you're not thinking about how it sounds. And that's the whole power of storytelling, right? You suspend reality. And I feel a lot of, I'm not giving a pass to my behavior or anybody's, but I think a lot of that stuff that we see is that imagination, right? It's we separate, we almost romanticize so we can cope with it, I guess, what I'm saying. So Grant Cardone trying to get a pass for being able to use the N-word. It's kind of funny, but I think it's only coming out because
I didn't see it or hear it. How serious was he though?
He's like, "Come on, man, just give me a pass. I just want to say it. I just
so he was joking though. Then yeah, I mean, to me that sounds like he was joking.
And apparently during the interview there was another mildly racist joke or remark, and this could be once again this guy's 60. It's not a pass, but like think once again just listen to how Dave and I describe like our ignorance and youth. Describing the very thing that he's like, we just explained like our generations, and we're seeing like how his generation deals with that very same tussle, because we haven't figured it out yet, which is why we're teaching Rosa Parks to fucking first graders, which is asinine. I was not ready to have that conversation with a 6-year-old the other day. What's next, Dave? Teach our second graders about the Holocaust?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how against that I am. Rosa Parks?
Yeah.
What'd they say? Can't.
Well, Mike, look, I have never referenced skin color in front of my kid.
Okay.
And then she comes home talking about brown and black people. What the fuck am I supposed to think? I thought I did my job. I thought I raised her to be colorblind. And she has other instances in her life that would add to color blindness. I'm not going to get into it on the internet, but there's things in her life that make her non-colorblind.
I'm not saying there's a right or wrong approach, but I almost took the exact opposite approach. I think you just let them know there's differences and there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, once she came home and told me about it, I told her it was all great and all, but I looked at her. I said, honey, there is no such thing as black, there's no colors on people. We're all the same people. Right,
which I get it. And I get it. For like a 6-year-old, that's a fair explanation.
Does a 6-year-old need to be conscious of skin color right now when she should be focused on tying her fucking shoes, counting to 100, ABCs, learning how to read? Let's teach our kids how to read so that, and I know
I don't know. I get it.
Well, once again, this is the animated contest to deal with the racist past and all the bad stuff and all the good stuff that came with it. Obviously, that's like more important. All the good stuff that has come from this. I'm not knocking it down. I don't know. This is the whole point of conversation and why we can't stifle speech, especially on the internet. I found this statistic on the internet. I thought it was a little interesting. 50% of people make between $25,000 a year, $25,000 a year, and $29,999 a year. So
50% of people in the United States.
Yes, make 25 to 30K. 25 to 30K.
Dude, I haven't made under 30K since I was 19.
I know.
That's fucking horrible.
Dave, I ran the number, and I was like looking, and like when I got around the point that I make what like a whole family makes in America by myself, and like back to news articles about the rich. I'm not rich or wealthy or like there's levels to everything, but it's like seeing numbers like that, I'm like, wow, how lucky am I? Or wow, I'm really skilled. Or wow, right? They're like, there's a lot of pride to have that. There's responsibility. There's so much goes into it. It's not like you just, and maybe that's why only 50% of us like can't get over that hump. Like we talked about last week about comfort, right? That break over. Like, I remember going to my boss telling him, I just want to make $40,000 a year. And he was like, you should want to make a lot more than that. Shout out to Tom Subject, man. That guy changed like that mindset of like, yo, there's people making double that.
Why are you limiting yourself to that?
Yeah, like you should want to be triple that at least. There's people you work with that make double that. The guy that trains you makes double that. Why can't you? There's so much money out there. Why not us? And I don't know what it is. I'm not here to beat a dead horse. I understand the life is hard and all this, but I've changed my life in 2 years, and income was one of them.
I would love, fuck it, maybe I'll do it. I would love to do consulting. I really would. I'd love to get with people who are making $25,000 a year and just, first of all, watch how they operate and make minor tweaks. Because I suspect it doesn't take much. Now, there's some people who legitimately just can't get it. They won't get it. They're not mentally wired a certain way, whatever it is, what it is.
IQ problem or
Sure. But I bet there's a lot of those people. Out of that 50%, I would bet a solid 70+% of them don't know any different. And if you were to tweak a couple small things, I bet they could easily increase that salary within a few weeks.
Yeah, David, and like to round out your point even more here, like how many of them are young men that don't have like father figures or like that, I'm not saying everybody's got to be a tradesman, but men can labor in a way women can't. Moving furniture, cutting grass, like I mean, everybody can operate a lawnmower. Now, granted, you might only make $31,000, but if you make $31,000, you're doing better than 51% of Americans. Isn't that a confidence boost? Not that you should judge yourself to other people, but like in the grand scheme of things, like you got to be humble. Once again, I remember going to ask for 40. You know what I mean? And I make more than that.
Yeah.
I make more than it took some people 20 years to make. Now, granted, there's a lot of factors. That's why it's more of a blessing. It's like anybody can do it. So it's just interesting. It's a statistic. And this is obviously all states, and I believe it was the median. So that means like 50%. That range, right, is 50% believe higher and lower. But yeah, so when they talk about how great the economy is and everything else, just remember that and stuff, and how many Americans are $500 bill away from bankruptcy and stuff. It's all interesting. Which got me into another thing before I round out two things and then Decembertainment here. Yeah, I got down into a conspiracy about BlackRock the other day. And it's not a conspiracy, but you can go to any of these financial sites like CNN Financial or Yahoo Financial and look up the shareholders of certain stocks and companies. You can do this with all public companies on the S&P 500 and any other publicly traded stock company, and you can see who owns majority of the stock and how the shareholders are split. Sure. And if you type in Pfizer, Verizon, literally any company that you get, Walmart, and I think the Walmart is still like the Walton family. Google was the other one, which is the ABC organization or something it's called. Alphabet. They're all owned by Alphabet. Thank you. They're all owned by BlackRock. And there's another company, I think it's called like Foundation or the point is they have a saying, follow the money, and then you wonder why all these 5 media companies or all these big pharma, all the Pfizer's owned by BlackRock.
Well,
so like one company made all of the money from the pandemic. It was a monopoly of it. And this is where it gets discouraging a lot of the time when I was coming up the conspiracy world, is battling these giants that make trillions of dollars off us and they control everything. But yeah, like the one guy said that like BlackRock brags about how they're valued at like $4 trillion in assets globally, and it's just like just imagine these, And when we really talk about the deep people, I'm assuming the people that are at BlackRock aren't very public. And they're not out on Instagram flossing in Lamborghinis like Andrew Tate.
Probably not. I suspect if you were to ask a lot of
Logan Paul had a video about, I think it was like the richest place in Sweden or Switzerland. And he said it was like a storybook world. And everybody was creepily polite. Like coffees were $200. Right. And it was just, everything was obnoxious to keep poor people out, basically. Like, sure. It was like the wealthiest thing. And they were like, he said we were basically like circus clowns there because everybody like is old money and businesses and like old money, like probably the Rockefeller styles, right? And they're like, we felt like the clowns because their kids came up and said, "Are you from the YouTubes? Are you the YouTubers?" And yeah, like imagine these are the people we're talking about, trillions of assets. And if you could do it for like, once again, any of the big companies, they're the top shareholders. For all of them.
That is pretty wild to think about.
It's fucking all of them. Verizon, it's all of them. You could just go to CNN Financial, type in your favorite big business, and check who's the number one fucking thing. I bet you BlackRock's in the top 5 for sure. If not, it's 1, 2, or 3 for sure. Google, it's number one. Pfizer, Pilsner. Pfizer, it's number one. I mean, those are bad enough. Google and the place about just with all the stuff we've seen this week about the vaccine and COVID. Smash those things together. I bet you they own some of the railroad company too.
Norfolk Southern.
I also thought of this. You know why like most people don't know about supply chain and why we get blindsided is because we're so removed from the physical world. It's like there's less tradesmen now than there's probably ever been because there's been more blue collar work to other areas of the world. And like all these white collar jobs or women who have teachers for husbands that don't get their hands dirty, they don't understand what it takes to build the world. So when a train car derails, they don't understand that gas is going to go up fucking $4 next week because their husband, I'm serious though. Because
No, I'm sorry. It just took me just a second to Google search this. Hold on. Norfolk Southern was who owned the trains that derailed, and BlackRock and Vanguard are two of the biggest shareholders in Norfolk Southern.
Vanguard's the other one. They own everything. And that same company had like 5 refineries. There was a refinery of theirs that caught on fire. Do you remember when Pompeo said the Chinese are in every global national corporation at every level in the American fucking system and every government in the world? All they got to do is go on a phone and they could probably drop assassins that look like Chinese fucking takeout containers out of blimps on our railroad stations and blow up certain. Like, this is gnarly, man. Yeah, I didn't mean to get a super deep rabbit hole, but you do it for any organization, and you will see Vanguard and BlackRock at the top of that list every single fucking time. Those are the global elites, the people that buy those things that are in those companies. At the very top are the global elites that we always talk about, and this class warfare, and all of this agenda, Klaus Schwab, all of them. That's where they're coming from. And I'm sick of people saying it's not conspiracy. We have the information now, and we got to talk about it. Sorry about the rant, David. All right, and speaking of, so 2 of my favorite books of all time are officially considered right-wing propaganda, David.
Go on.
1984.
Yeah.
And The Lord of the Rings.
So 1984 was written by a literal communist, socialist?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's right-wing
communist
propaganda.
Sympathizer.
I'm interested in Lord of the Rings is right-wing propaganda now? Is that a thing?
I guess so.
Why is that?
I don't know. J.R.R. Tolkien said the worst thing that ever happened to man was the invention of the combustion engine. And the guy literally, hobbits, that will sound like a dork. I don't care. Hobbits are him. He wanted to be a fucking hobbit. He wanted to live like hobbits in shires, in little nooks and crevices, and just smoke pipe weed all day, eat, get fat and happy, and have a bunch of kids. The ideal life. It's basically Peter Pan's Neverland, but for English folklore. Okay? That's like the infinite imagination of children. That's the whole point of the Shire. That's why it was untouched. That's why it's supposed to be untouched.
Is this going to be like J.K. Rowling as right-wing extremist because she doesn't believe in trans people?
Well, they're probably going to say it because there's no black people in Middle Earth, and the reason there's no black people is because there's nothing about England before the Viking Raiders invasion and the whole area of the world. They don't have history from they have like King Arthur forward and Beowulf and forward, and Tolkien invented Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit as like mythology that predated all that stuff. And it's all the folklore. It's all the culture. He knew the history. He wrote the English Oxford Dictionary. He was a fucking professor at Oxford College and taught, and he helped C.S. Lewis, who wrote Narnia. And like this guy is the furthest thing. He fought in World War I and lost all of his friends and watched the whole fucking world burn over there. Don't tell me this guy's a right wing. This story shaped my life in ways I can't even describe to people. And then I got to hear that it's going to lead me to right wing extremist behaviors.
But you are right wing extremist, right?
I'm only right wing extremist because people keep going the wrong direction. I haven't moved. I'm an American, David. But yeah, the point about Tolkien, to round that out, it's very important. This guy literally invented fantasy. He invented language. He helped shape language like Shakespeare. Okay? We just don't care. We don't look at him that way because he died in my lifetime. The guy he literally shaped literacy for every person alive today. It's insulting. This is like saying Jesus is racist. Gandalf's Jesus in Lord of the Rings, if you didn't know. That's why it's so fucking important that he dies in front of everybody. See, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy town. The world was spoken to existed, like the Big Bang, a big boom, a speak, a boom, a bass. It's crazy town. The guy took the whole fucking mythology of the whole world and built literacy around it, and I'm going to be told it's right-wing extreme propaganda. Okay. But they do it so they can repaint the narrative. We know this. It just pisses me off that everything from my childhood, they're changing the sex of M&Ms. They're taking out, like, they're just thieving all of my childhood history, and I'm not okay with it. It's aggravating.
Well, they are supposedly doing more Lord of the Rings, so maybe they'll just be woke now.
There's no black people. There should be woke no black people. I don't care that there's black people in Lord of the Rings, but I don't care about that, but just I want people to understand that the reason there isn't in his story is because it's based on Western, it's based on Europe and England before they had contact with Africans. Like, literally.
It's the same reason there's not a lot of white people in Black Panther.
Well, except Stan Lee. Anyways, yeah, you're not going to steal Lord of the Rings from me. And Peter Jackson, if he's involved with Lord of the Rings, I don't even know anymore. I'm scared of modern cinema. They really can't do anything well. So yeah, 2 December entertainments here, quick. I'll get to one thing first. It was a funny, and then I got a hobby. First thing, my cousin and my other cousin and I all met up at a bar downtown in Elmwood called Thirsty Buffalo. It was switching owners, apparently, and he knew somebody who was owning it, so I went down there the other night, and I had a fantastic night. They had pretty good food and beer prices, and yeah, there was girls there, so that was cool. I'm just spreading the message along. It's a cool spot. I intend to go back. I'm a suburbanite, David, as always, you know that, so when I'm working in the city or I go downtown, I find these new spots. It's always cool to, like, it was like an old Buffalo building, too, you know, like when the door and the frame are one piece. It's real thick, like wood and like oak or something.
Yeah, all that old style architecture.
Yeah, and just downtown, you know, in Allentown there, all that history. The buildings are kind of like, not like cramped, but you're forced to be intimate with people. You're forced to be close. And maybe I enjoy it because I have room in suburbia like they don't, right? So it gives me that feeling. Because I get overwhelmed in like busy cities after a while. I'm always happy to leave. But all that being said, I had a great time with both my cousins, and it was just great to see family, meet some new people, and get out there and see a new bar. Thirsty Buffalo was down in Elmwood somewhere. And my true December entertainment this week. So I don't have a lot of time for video games and stuff nowadays, David, but my buddy and I, we were normally playing Gears of War for a while, and we've fallen off the last few months between us being busy and video games kind of being lackluster. We were getting wrecked online a lot, so it wasn't fun, you know.
They have been lackluster recently.
Yeah, I think it's a novelty thing. It's wearing off. I'm debating on whether even upgrading Xboxes because I don't have enough time to play them now. So, but the point of bringing it up, Age of Empires 2 is out on Xbox, like Game Pass or whatever. So him and I have been downloading that and playing that. And I've been playing action games, and I've played strategy games like this before, but when I was like teenager and I haven't played in a while, dude. And talk about like addicting again, man. Like it was like maybe I've been playing all the other games like shooters and like action adventure games and, you know, these other type of games like role-playing games. And I haven't gone back to a strategy game in so long that now that I am, it's like, oh, like, and what's really cool about Age of Empires, it's all based around the civilizations, right? And it's like all of them, the Aztecs, Mayans, Vietnamese, and it's like all of them from all over. And obviously, it's all like the same building mechanics. I'm sure you played strategy games, so everybody knows that. But it makes you look at our life, right? Like that we had to start from farmers and start like resources. And it's literally how we got here. And it's kind of cool. Not to mention it's fun. We're playing online. We're getting fucking wrecked. But the game's been out for like 20 years on PC, so the people we're probably playing with have had this strategy, and they're just like coming to fuck our whole day up. But it's cool. It's cool to learn a new game. It's cool to have a new experience. And Age of Empires 2. I don't know. Strategy game's been cool. My buddy and I have been playing it, and
I know you're not into Harry Potter. For those who are, though, the Hogwarts Legacy game came out, and I haven't played a video game that much in a long time.
It's like crack, huh?
It's outstanding.
Everybody I know that has it loves it. I got multiple family.
It really is. It's outstanding.
It's good, man, that they got a good game out like
it's
that.
Cool, though, because it like puts you 100% in the world. Like, to see everything, the scale of everything, it really changes what you thought about it. Like, if they were to do a modern, and I think they did in the past Lord of the Rings games, but if they did a modern one with like today's modern technology and graphics and all that, like it would blow your mind. But that's what it is for me.
Yeah, dude, if you were to like live the Lord of the Rings series like through that Harry Potter style of gameplay,
right,
it'd be pretty incredible. Yeah, that's what. Once again, these are the pinnacle of fantasy, and they're attacking them. I didn't mean to get off tangent here. Yeah, that's what makes these stories so cool. It's like they're so good at world building that it lets you leave our world, and you feel like a kid again. You get to experience like these things that like. Cartoons aren't for kids. They're made for adults that kids watch so that they learn when they're adults. I genuinely believe that. And cartoons just make it easy for us to be children again, to learn like kids again, to have excitement again, and to like feel that novelty of like learning for the first time something new. Like like learning something new is like a kid behavior. Like how many adults are out there learning something new every day? It doesn't happen a lot.
Not enough.
So I don't know. As always, David, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, brother. It's been an awesome week. If you guys made it through all the episodes this week, and especially this one and Ryan's record, I appreciate you the most. You're my true December Knights. You can catch us Monday through Friday for the weekly show on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. David and I will be there as always, commenting along. I appreciate all the advice. And see you guys there. Once again, David, thank you. Appreciate it, man. And have a good week.
See ya. Thanks, everyone. Peace. Thanks, Ryan.
Go Trump. God damn it. I'm voting for Trump. Fuck it.